Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you about, do you have to train heavy once in a while? And the reason why I'm making a video about this, because I've made a lot of videos on this same subject when it comes down to natural bodybuilding and how to build muscle, how to build strength. The reason why I'm doing this is because in the live chat, somebody came on my live chat and said, hey Jason, so you believe in only partial ranges of motion and only light weights all the time. Why do you believe that? So obviously I don't believe that, because I've always had to train heavy and light, and I've had to mix up the rep ranges in order to get the most out of my workouts. It's just that you don't have to train heavy all the time, and that's something that's misunderstood. So people see bodybuilders, you know, especially natural guys like myself, they see them training light sometimes, or training with higher reps, like say 20 reps or 15 reps, and they say, oh, well, that's the way you gain muscle, just by doing that one thing. Meanwhile, they take everything out of context. They're not watching all of your other workouts and saying, okay, what did Jason do in this workout? What did he do in that workout? They're just looking at one workout and then taking everything else out of context. So the thing is with heavy weights is that they do hit the fast twitch fibers very strongly, and they will hit the strength endurance fibers very strongly, because once you gain in strength, then you can do more reps with heavier weight. It's pretty much straight up logic, right? It's the way natural bodybuilders have always done this sport. Obviously, if you could just lift 5-pound dumbbells and just do some reps or whatever and get big muscles, then everybody would be doing it. But the reason why the old school guys didn't train that way is because they found that strength was also necessary. It isn't like you can just lift light weights all the time or do the thigh master and end up with huge quads, right? So it just doesn't work that way. So the thing you have to bear in mind is that when you establish some sort of strength, to maintain that muscle mass, you don't necessarily have to be lifting heavy all the time. It's a lot easier to maintain something that you've already gained as opposed to get it for the first time. That's one thing. Second of all, when people have certain injuries and so forth, sometimes doing a 15 rep range is just as hard on their muscles as you doing a 5 rep range if you have stable joints or a stable environment. So sometimes your injury history can play a role in how hard the muscles are working or having to work to stabilize the joint as well as to lift the weight. And in my case, say with the dislocated shoulder, sometimes if I'm doing sets of 10 or 12 on the bench, it might be, one could argue, it might be a little bit harder on my muscles as opposed to somebody else who maybe needs 5 rep ranges for that same type of exercise because of the way they are built. And that takes me to my next point, is that everybody's built slightly different. So I've seen some people able to get away with lifting light weights for certain exercises and gain some muscle. But then other people, if they did the same thing, there's just no way in hell they would have gained any muscle. It's almost like they just did not have enough stress on the muscle in order to cause an adaptation. So Do you have to lift heavy? Yes, you do. You need to gain strength. You need to be doing some heavy weights from time to time, at least, sets of 6 to 10 reps, as long as it's safe for you and as long as you don't have injuries to worry about. But ideally, you would be training in this rep range from time to time, and then you'll be training with lighter weights or medium-sized weights in order to get that full body pump. Now, the reason also why I can get away with some higher rep ranges more often is because I do train more frequently. And I found, instead of just training the body part once a week or once every 8 days or once every 4 days, say you're doing a bro split or something like that, and then feeling like you have to hit all the rep ranges and you have to hit super heavy and super light, you have to do the stretching and the contraction exercises, you have to do everything under the sun in order to feel like you actually hit the muscle. I found that that was so much of a shock to the body that it caused more injuries and issues than when I trained frequently and did some lighter weight workouts, almost like they're glorified warm-ups for the days where I go heavier. So I had this synergy that happened from that, and that's why I sell the 2-day split programs. That's why I made these programs, is to show you the benefit of higher frequency training along with constantly being in the groove and then once in a while going heavy and challenging those fast twitch fibers in the nervous system. Now in the future I will be making a strength training program at some point, so you guys can purchase that at some point if you want. But the bottom line is I do find as a foundation it's good to switch up between heavy weights and light weights. And usually I say about 70% of the time you're doing medium weights like 10 reps to 25 reps, and then the other 20% of the time you might be doing like 5 to 8 rep sets, and then the other 10% of the time you're doing super high reps, like say 50 reps or something, like almost like a cardio type pump workout. So as a general rule, that's kind of what I do. So yeah, do I believe in lifting heavy? Yeah, I do. I do believe in challenging the body when my body feels like it can take the challenge and I'm not going to be snapping something, right? So this is the other thing you have to take into account, right? There's no point in lifting heavy if it's just going to lead you to a deeper injury. And unfortunately, a big part of this path is rehabilitation. A lot of times you're rehabbing areas or trying to keep them healthy as you're trying to push through your obstacles or as you're trying to push through your plateaus. So I hope this helps you understand that you do have to train heavy and light if you want to make big gains when it comes down to natural bodybuilding. And thanks a lot for watching. And if you need to help me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. And thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. And yeah, you can subscribe if you want. Somebody said I was too pushy with the subscriptions. I think they thought that driving people up the logging road and burying them if they didn't subscribe was too harsh. I don't think you'll hurt my feelings if you don't. Maybe my feelings will be hurt. I don't know. I don't even know if I have feelings. Mountains, do mountains have feelings? I don't even know.
Gallant!